Hi, my name is Stacy Pruitt, and this is my case study presentation. The case study that I reviewed was called an insulin overdose. This case was about an anesthesia resident being called into work on an emergent case without any sleep and after being awake for almost 24 hours. I believe that he had said that he had been awake since 6 a.m. and this call was made at 3 a.m. So he would have been awake for 22 hours at this point without sleep. During the case, the resident received an order from his attending to give 2 units of insulin due to the patient's elevated potassium level. Instead of clarifying the order with the attending, the resident went ahead and pulled up what he thought was the correct dosage and gave it to the patient. What the order was for 10 units of insulin to be given to the patient, and the resident pulled up 10 milliliters of insulin, which equaled the 10 mils ended up equaling 1,000 units of insulin. What went wrong in this case? This was hard to determine because there were so many different things that had gone wrong. Probably the first thing that came to mind was that the resident did not verify the order with the attending. A lot of times when you verify something out loud, you realize your mistake before you make it. So had the resident read back the order to the attending, he may have accidentally said 10 milliliters instead of 10 units, which then would have prompted the attending to correct him. He may have looked down at the syringe and realized he had the wrong one. The second big thing, obviously, is the being awake 22 hours and trying to be as sharp as you were with hour 1. This is also, according to the case study, and a laparoscopic procedure, but exploratory, so possibly taking quite a bit of time because they have the ischemic valve. So not a very quick case, and not one case is the same as the other. So you can't say, oh, well, my last case was 45 minutes, so this one will be 45 minutes or less. The fact is this case could take a lot longer. So if you were already at 22 hours awake before the surgery even began, you were going to be well over that 24-hour mark possibly by the end. So the big thing, one of the other big things that went wrong was that the resident was working off of 2 long hours without sleep. And lastly, the wrong type and size of syringe was used with insulin. It's very important to verify that you're giving the patient in units versus milliliters. And just like in this case, he pulled up milliliters instead of units and didn't verify with anybody before doing it. How can we resolve the issues? Well, we can make sure that the resident that is on call gets some sleep. Create a rule that no one can work over a certain amount of hours per day. So make it to where no person within the hospital caring for patients can work over, say 14 hours. That way there's always a 10-hour off period before they start again. Package the insulin with the correct type of syringe, so maybe a unit syringe instead of milliliters. And definitely give the syringe that matches with that concentration of insulin. And make sure that anyone giving medication is verbally verifying the order before they give it, such as handing another person the syringe so that they can verify that that's what they ordered, and just reading the order back to them out loud. Currently in the hospital that I work at, even for sub-Q insulin, we actually have we have to have a cosigner, a physical cosigner, to give any type of insulin, whether we're starting an insulin drip or giving just 2 units sub-Q. It takes a second nurse to type in their information to the computer before it's able to be saved. So there's no overriding it. There's no way around it. You have to give the insulin with 2 nurses to any patient. And I believe it's a good practice. Who and what role do other disciplines have in resolving the issues? Other disciplines that have the ability to factor in to prevent an error like this would be the management for the hospital should not allow someone to work such length of hours, even if it is for call. So some people sign up for 2 weeks of call in a row because they say, oh, it's just call, maybe I won't get called in those 2 hours. Well, most hospitals you do get called in, so you shouldn't be allowed to be on call after you work. So when somebody's on call, they maybe shouldn't be on that day. The nursing staff who work side to side with these residents and surgeons should have recognized the resident's exhaustion and address that with the chain of command. Obviously, a nurse isn't going to tell a physician to leave, but in this case, the nurse could have gone up to their supervisor, and the supervisor could have then addressed it with his attending. The other residents could have offered to jump in and run the case. At the beginning of this case study, it did say that he had just finished up with another case when this one got paged out. So maybe doing like in every, you take every 3 cases or every other case and not do cases back to back, especially call cases. And it is, the attending was in there giving the order for the potassium, so the attending could have taken this case and let the resident sleep, since the attending was there anyways. The proposed solution that I created, my proposed solution would be to change this scenario from the beginning. When working in the high-risk environment such as surgery, I would have 2 teams of residents working. One team that sleeps during the day and takes call at night, and the other team would work during the day and sleep at night. This would prevent someone from working without proper sleep. Then I would make it to where you cannot give high-risk medications such as insulin without a second licensed person verifying that the dosage is correct before giving it. Lastly, I would make it a requirement that everyone read back verbal orders to verify that they are given the correct amount per the order. What barriers exist in implementing your proposed solution? There are going to be hospitals that are not big enough to have 2 different teams of residents for proper sleep. There will still be providers who do not read back verbal orders. There will be people who co-sign for medication but do not verify it because they assume the other person is going to give the medication correctly. And there will be providers who do not abide by the rule of limiting the consecutive hours of sleep and continue to work anyways. There's my references. Thank you.